Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to give you 7 Beast Mode fragrances that I think you should know about. So let's just jump into it. Alright, so today we are talking Beast Mode fragrances. Who doesn't like a good Beast Mode fragrance? We all want to get some good longevity, some good sillage out of our fragrances, and sometimes it doesn't always happen, but today I'm going to give you 7 of the fragrances in my collection that I have not talked about on this channel yet that give me great performance or great sillage or a combination of both off my skin. I'm going to have links down in the description to all of these fragrances. So without further ado, let's just jump right into it. All right, so we're going to kick this list off with a cheapie. It's from the house of FRANCK and it's Oud Vanille. Now this is an Eau de Parfum concentration and you can pick this up for $18, $20 at various discounters. Links will be down in the description if you want to check this one out. This one opens up with a very nice sweet floral combination. It's got some caramel, it's got some rose, but soon you get this nice incense wood starting to make through, a little bit of spiciness comes through with it. And in the dry down you get this nice rich vanilla with these smoky woods, this like spicy rose that kind of from that rose accord and some of those spices that mix together with a touch of oud that just makes this a really nice, elegant, sexy, cozy style of fragrance that I absolutely enjoy. If you like that kind of like floral, rosy oud mixed with some kind of smokiness in that vanilla, I think you're really going to enjoy FRANCK Oud Vanille Beast Mode fragrance. This one lasts about 10, maybe 12 hours off of my skin. If I get some on my clothes, it's going to last until I wash that t-shirt. This one sticks around for a really long time. For $18 to $20 to get that kind of performance out of this, absolute steal of a deal. Cool weather fragrance for sure. It's got that kind of fall evening, wintertime sort of vibe to it. So that's when I think this is best worn. But like I said, performance on this is absolutely monstrous. Great scent profile, and for $18, $20, absolute steal of a deal. I think you should check it out. It's FRANCK Oud Vanille. All right, so next up, we got one that I picked up earlier this summer, and I just can't get enough of this one. It's MIYAKE's L'Odyssée Intense. Now this one is an Eau de Toilette concentration and you can pick this up for about $23 to $33 at various discounters. You can also find this at rack stores for in and around that price point, even a little bit cheaper sometimes. I picked this one up for about $20 Canadian. Absolute steal of a deal. If you're familiar with the MIYAKE L'Odyssée, the original, it's been around for quite some time. It's one of my favorite summer style fragrances. And so when I saw this one, I figured, hey, I can't go wrong with the flanker, right? And I was right. This is absolutely gorgeous. What this does is it takes that original L'Odyssée DNA, that yuzu, that mandarin, that orange, those citruses that are up top that just have that signature MIYAKE sort of flavor to it, and this just punches it with some incense and some spicy notes that adds a really nice, unique twist to it that I absolutely love. This dries down to a very smoky woods with like the remnants of that citrus, that yuzu at the top, and has a little bit of some like balsamic sweetness from some like amber and some benzoin that mixes into it. Absolutely gorgeous scent profile. I love this one. I can see this being maybe a little bit challenging to some because it does have that very like strong smokiness to it mixed with those citruses and that little bit of woods and that balsamic sweetness. It might be a bit of a challenging scent profile, but I absolutely love this one. When I first wore this one, I didn't get Beast Mode performance out of this. I was getting like good 6, 7, maybe up to 8 hours of this, and it had decent projection. I had people when I was going out that were making comments that I smoked, you know, really nice, asking me what I was wearing, etc. So it was pushing out fairly well, but I didn't categorize it as Beast Mode. The more I've worn this over time, the more powerful it's got. I'm not sure if it just got some oxygen into the bottle and it started to kind of, you know, get more powerful as time went on. But now when I put this on, I get an easy 10 hours of longevity off this. Again, if I put this on my clothes, this will last until the next morning. I get Beast Mode performance out of this now that I've worn this a few times. Maybe that's just I didn't pick up on it the first time around, but now I categorize this as a Beast Mode fragrance, and I absolutely love this one. This is definitely a versatile style fragrance. I think in the really high heat, might be a little bit too much. It does have that very punchy incense note that's in there, but you can get away with this in the summer if it's a little bit of a moderate temperature. Spring and fall, absolutely for sure, and in the winter, I think this would cut through the cold just fine. Banger of a fragrance. I absolutely love this one, and I get great performance out of it. I think you should be checking it out. It's MIYAKE's L'Odyssée Intense. All right, next up on the list, we got one of my favorites from the line, and that is Salvatore Ferragamo's UOMO, the original. Now this one can be a little tricky to find nowadays, but when you can find it, you can get it for about $50 on discounters. Again, I'll have a link down in the description if you want to check this one out. This is just one of my favorite fall winter style fragrances. It opens up with a nice spice medley of black pepper and cardamom. but soon it moves into this delicious gourmand, sweet tiramisu, coffee, ambroxan, and a little bit of orange blossom, and it's just absolutely delicious the way this one smells. It does dry down with a little bit more tonka and a little bit like a sandalwood that's in there to kind of give it a nice like vanillic creaminess to it, but you get that tiramisu and that coffee note. It's just a beautiful, thick, sweet, syrupy, gourmand, delicious style fragrance. I absolutely love this one. It's just so good for the cold weather. Very sweet, very sexy, very cozy, comforting style of fragrance. And the performance on this is absolutely fantastic. I get 8-10 hours out of this, no problem off my skin. Again, if I get some on my clothing, I'm gonna have to wash my shirt before this smell comes out. It's just sticks around, it lingers, it just gives you wafts throughout the day of this delicious gourmand coffee tiramisu style fragrance. Absolutely love it. If you have not checked this out, I definitely think this is worth having in your collection. If you're into that sweet style, gourmand style fragrance, this is the one you should be getting your nose on. That's Salvatore Ferragamo's UOMO. All right, next up on the list, we got another gourmand style fragrance, and it's one of my new favorites. It's Dua brand's Café de Dua 2.0. Now you can pick this up from the Dua website for about $65 for a 30 ml, so it is a little bit pricier compared to the rest of the fragrances on this list today, but it's absolutely worth it. It is an extrait de parfum concentration, and this is probably one of the most realistic, fancy gourmand coffee style fragrances I have ever experienced. It's like a Colombian ground coffee mixed with like chestnuts, praline, toffee, caramel, and some vanilla that's mixed in there. It has this like baked good with like artisanal fancy coffee sort of vibe written all over it. It's actually kind of mind-blowing how good this is and how realistic this is. This is so realistic that I had a minivan full of soccer moms pull up and kidnap me because I smelled exactly like their $10 Starbucks drink. That's not true, that didn't happen. But that's the kind of vibe you get from this. This is like a high-end, sweet, dessert-style coffee that you can get, and it's just absolutely delicious, and the performance on this is absolutely monstrous. I get 10-12 hours of longevity off this, no problem. Projection on this, I was getting whiffs of myself all day long when I was wearing this. Like, there was no point where I really went nose blind to it. As much as I was moving around, I was just, that's all I could smell was me. It was just like this delicious, artisanal, sweet style coffee. And I absolutely love this one. It was worth every single penny picking this one up. Definitely think this is a cool weather style fragrance. Fall, winter, this one really punches through. It's a very cozy, relaxing, warm style fragrance. And I absolutely love it. I think it's worth checking out. That's Dua's Café de Dua 2.0. All right, next up on the list, we're moving into the house of MANCERA, and we're talking about MANCERA's Oud Vanille. I bet you all thought I was gonna say MANCERA's Red Tobacco, which is also a Beastmode fragrance, but everyone already knows that, so I wanted to talk about Oud Vanille. This is an eau de parfum concentration, and you can pick up a 60 ml bottle for about $60 at places like Fragrance Buy. I'm gonna have a link down in the description. You can check this out. This one opens up with a beautiful combination of oud, vanilla, saffron, and some spices. It comes across in the beginning as kind of a bit of a leathery style oud from that saffron kind of mixing in there with some of those spices. And the vanilla is there, but it's not in the forefront quite yet. It has a little bit of florals that are in there to kind of soften the edges on that oud and that kind of leatheriness that comes through. But as this one dries down, it turns into one of the creamiest, delicious, rich style of vanillas I probably have in my entire collection. It's a Madagascar vanilla, I believe, and it's just the most decadent, delicious style of vanilla. You still get that touch of oud that's in there, a little bit of the spice and some of the florals, but the main singer here is that vanilla with some nice woods that kind of mix in there as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous style of fragrance. If you're into that kind of like oud style of fragrance, mixed with that sweetness and that vanilla, you're really going to like this. The oud is not like very pungent, it doesn't punch through a whole lot, but it's there to add that nice bit of depth and character to it. Gorgeous fragrance, it's just beautiful. I love how this one comes across. Definitely a cool weather style fragrance. Fall, winter, this one is absolutely perfect. And the performance on this, like a lot of MANCERA's, is absolutely monstrous. 10-12 hours I get with this, not a problem. Again, on my shirt, it's gonna have to wash my t-shirt before that fragrance comes out. Great, great performance on this. The scent bubble on this feels it feels nice and big, but it also feels very soft, cozy, comforting with that rich vanilla that's in there. Beautiful scent bubble on this. The sillage in this is fantastic. And again, I could smell this off my skin all day long, like throughout a workday and then well into the evening. Great pickup. I think for $60 for this quality of fragrance is absolutely worth it. I think you should check it out. That's MANCERA's Oud Vanille. All right, next up on the list, we have ourselves a modern classic. It's Mugler's Amen, the original. Now you can find this for about $44 to $62 at various discounters, again, depending on what size of bottle you're looking at, 50 ml to 100 ml. This one is a classic. This was around in the early 2000s, late 90s-ish, if I remember correctly. And I still think this one holds up. It opens up very sweet, spicy, with a little bit of florals in it. It has this like caramel, this honey, and this very prominent patchouli. The patchouli note in this is kind of the signature of this entire Amen series, but especially in this one, you're definitely going to get a patchouli note as this rides through the duration of this fragrance. As this kind of dries down, it gets this really nice, rich, dark, almost mysterious kind of gourmand style vibe to it. It's got some like coffee in there, some vanilla tonka sort of sweetness to it, with some like creamy sandalwoods that work through, and again with that patchouli that's in there. That's again one of the more prominent notes you're going to get for this. Very sweet, very gourmand, but very thick and very rich style of gourmand fragrance with that kind of coffee note that kind of adds that character to it. Really beautiful scent profile. I really enjoy this one. Definitely a cold weather style fragrance. Fall and winter is where you're gonna wear this. If you wear this in the summer, you're gonna choke yourself out. This is just too sweet, too rich, too thick. I think it'd just be too much in the high heat. Cool weather fragrance for sure. Performance on this is absolutely monstrous. Like 12 plus hours for me off my skin, not a problem. This is probably the most powerful, most beast mode fragrance in this entire list compared to everything else. This just pushes through, this lasts forever. You're gonna get your money's worth for sure. If you're into that sort of scent profile, I think you should check this one out. It's Mugler's Amen. All right, so last, certainly not least, we're gonna end things off with a cheapie here, and it's BOGART or HOMME. Now you can find this at discounters for about $17 to $23. Again, links down in the description. This one opens up a very fresh, almost soapy, bright, clean, aromatic, with this nice lavender, this bergamot, hint of this orange blossom. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous opening. It's very fresh, very uplifting, very aromatic. But as this one starts to dry down and open up a little bit, you get some patchouli that comes through, a nice powdery sort of tonka that comes through. And it has this, even though it's not a note, it has this almost kind of red berry, cherry sort of vibe that comes through in the dry down. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It adds just like a little bit of sweetness to it with those aromatics and that kind of earthy patchouli. And it's just a really nice, enjoyable fragrance that I absolutely love. Definitely a cool weather style fragrance, but I think you can pull this off a little bit more into the spring as well. I think at the high heat, it might be a little bit too much, even though it is kind of aromatic and it has that freshness to it. That powdery tonka that comes through, some of the woods in the base, that cedar wood in the base, will perhaps be a little too much for the summer months when it gets into the high heat. But I think this is fairly versatile across the spring, fall, and the winter. I think you can definitely pull this one off. And the performance on this for a $17 to $23 fragrance is unbelievable. 10, 12 hours off my skin, no problem. Again, if I get some on my clothing, it'll last well into the next day. Absolutely incredible performance for the price you're paying. And the scent profile on this is absolutely gorgeous. Definitely something you should be checking out. It's BOGART or HOMME. So there you have it. That's 7 Beast Mode fragrances that I think you should know about. Let me know down in the comments, what are some of your favorite Beast Mode fragrances? Go right now, let me know, let others know. Go type in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.